is Ms. Mkhwebane did not interview. She did not interview me. The recordings itself, as incomplete as they are, also contain conversations such as where Mr. Moyane asks pertinently questions about any equipment acquired or purchased by the unit at any point in time. And it's then explained in quite detail how they did not purchase or acquire or use any equipment for any such purposes as implied or suggested or claimed. Point 5, and that's the last point in response, is that Mr. Janse van Rensburg was the manager of the unit from inception to March 2008. He then left the employ of the institution. Mr. Lombard was a member of the unit for the same period, February 2007 until the 11th of April 2008, whereafter he was then moved to another unit. The so-called equipment that Ms. Mkhwebane listed in her report is then equipment that Mr. Lombard in the recordings very specifically indicate had nothing to do with the unit, but were acquired by a completely different unit in SARS for a completely different purpose. I know of no persons that ever bugged officers of the NPA at all. I know of no such investigation or activity whatsoever. I have nothing further to say. I think the manner in which the court states it is perfect. Ms. Mkhwebane ought to have asked me. I would have assisted her to the best of my ability to determine the facts of the matter. But in order to establish the legality and lawfulness of what that unit did over the period of 7 years that it existed, one has to look at what they did. Ms. Mkhwebane did none such thing. This lies at the heart of my complaint. Yesterday I said my complaint is very narrow. All I'm saying is that the investigation was not an investigation because Ms. Mkhwebane did not seek to obtain all the facts. Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, no, you said that loud and clear. And it was not an investigation because she did not speak to you.
Because she did not obtain all the facts.
Yeah, but mainly because she ignored you.
That too, Chairperson. She also claims to not have been able to find me.
Yes, no, okay. We're going to come to exactly that. That's why I'm asking you that question. But before we go there, are you serious? That is the first time you hear that the unit intercepted the NPA or the DSO?
I've heard the claims.
Maybe I'm sorry, Mr. Loggerenberg. I don't want to put words in your mouth here. I know you said you know nothing about it, and I just want to know. It might be that you don't know that it in fact happened. I'm simply asking you whether you've never heard of that allegation, whether it's false or true. Put it aside for now.
No, I have obviously heard of those allegations.
Okay, good. And insofar as that allegation goes, it is that there was the rogue unit intercepted the Directorate for Special Investigations to spy on them in relation to the Celebi case. Is that correct?
No, Chairperson, it's incorrect.
And that spying was to find out if there might be anything which would then be reported allegedly to President Mbeki. Is that the first time you're hearing that as well?
No, I've heard multiple versions of the specific allegations. You're
including
expressing
that one.
I don't know who's made that claim. But I have heard it, yes.
You've heard it, yes. No, that's why I'm saying let's forget about the veracity for now. But the allegation is that the spying was in connection with the Silebi criminal matter. Let me put it that way.
I think I've answered, Chairperson. I said it's one of the multiple versions of this claim.
All right. And the recording that you say you've seen, or transcript, I don't know if you've heard the actual recording or the transcript. One of the issues covered there is this issue of the interception at the NPA.
I apologize, Chairperson. I'm very slow. I'm not understanding the question. Could it be rephrased, perhaps?
Yes. No, so I was just rounding off this topic. I'm saying you admit, or do you agree that part of the evidence, or let's say the allegations contained in the recordings have to do with the interception at the DSO?
No, I don't.
Okay. So you've just heard it from, let's say, the grapevine, that version about Silebi and President Mbeki and so on.
I think it was in the media. It was all over the place. I don't specifically at this very minute recall where I first heard it. If it's necessary, I can go and try and find out for you, Chairperson.
That's fine. You've listened to these recordings yourself, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
All right. Now let's then come to your favorite topic, which is how you were ignored. So to understand it in context, am I correct that your, what you call your gripe includes the fact that Ms. Mkhwebane was unable to trace you at the time of the investigation, correct?
It's not a gripe, it's a fact.
Yes, but I thought you said that's the gist of your complaint. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's call it whatever you want. But do you accept that the information that was given to Ms. Mkhwebane by the investigators involved in this particular investigation was that they were not able to find you?
Sorry, Chairperson, are you asking whether I accept that?
Yes, because when I said you accept something, it means I'm giving you an opportunity so that if we bring evidence to a particular effect, it cannot be said that I did not put it to you. Otherwise, we have to call you back and forth here. So you can always, if you don't accept something, no, you understand. You understand? Okay.
I accept if that is what they say. I accept that. I just think they should come for tips on how to find people.
No, that's true. So you're simply saying you accept it, but you're saying they could have done better.
If that is the case, as I said, the address on the subpoena is non-existent.
Yeah. And assuming these were people who are normally good investigators, Ms. Mkhwebane would not have had any reason to doubt. If they say they can't find you, maybe you're right. With the benefit of hindsight now, they could have gone to the internet or this or that and the other. But the point is, if they informed her that they cannot find you, she had to take that at face value.
It's a possibility, certainly, Chairperson.
Thank you. That's all I need. Thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can I just understand? Are you putting the public protector's version to?
Sorry, I can't hear.
No, sorry.
Just repeat,
She'll speak for
Advocate
herself.
Bauer, so that
Sorry,
the witness can hear.
I just want to be clear so that I understand. Are you putting the version that your evidence will be if either the public protector or another witness takes the stand, that's the version that will be before the committee that you're putting to this witness?
Not quite, because we still have to decide whether there'll even be a need to do that. But I'm happy for the sake of progress to say that's our version. Yeah, but I can't attribute it for now to this or that witness. Yeah. But that's our version. Yeah. Okay.
Proceed.
Thank you. Yes, and that's what I was explaining to Mr. van Loggerenberg, and I think he understands it. But when I put some, he can always say no, he doesn't accept it, but I have to put it to him. But fortunately, this one he has accepted. All right. Now, I would agree then that just for the sake of completion, if that is, excuse me, assume for now that either the public protector or another witness will confirm that they couldn't find you genuinely. Maybe not they're not, as you say, they must come to you for lessons on tracing, and I'm sure many other things. But let's assume that she was given that information and she accepted it. Then you would agree then that all the elements or the aftermath of what you call your main complaint would effectively be answered by that attitude from her. In other words, it was not because she decided, I'm just going to close my ears and I'm never going to speak to Mr. van Loggerenberg, but that you could not be found. You agree with that?
No, I don't, Chairperson, because it still does not address the fact that the public protector addressed my lawyers 3 weeks prior to concluding the investigation.
Yes. All those are what we call the benefit of hindsight. I'm talking about something different. The Advocate Mkhwebane is not here for writing letters or not writing letters. She's here, according at least to your evidence, because she would have consciously avoided the truth, to put it crudely, by, among other things, not contacting you. That's the theory, if I understand it correctly. Do you understand the difference between that and...
Yes, Chairperson, except Ms. Mkhwebane states implicitly that she did seek information and records from me, and she did set about to subpoena me. So it was her intention to engage with me. Now, all right, if the version is that she sent some of her experienced investigators to deliver the subpoena, and for whatever reason or another, they were incapable of getting hold of me, and they went back to Ms. Mkhwebane and said, we can't find this man, sorry. And she accepted that. That may be so. That may be a possibility. And I'm not implying culpability in such a situation.
Thank you.
But it does beg the question then, what is a public protector if one has regard for that male and guardian case description that says, well, I need this guy, I need his records and information in order to conclude my investigation properly and meaningfully. My guys can't find this character. What else should I do? And while this occurs, this character's lawyer writes to the public protector.
Yes.
She could have used YouTube to call me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I understand what Mr. Mpofu is asking me, Chairperson, and I'm saying all of those things are indeed possibilities. I don't know. It depends. One would have to hear from Ms. Mkhwebane what really happened there. How did it come to be that she did not manage to engage with me, and why not? I don't know. She never said anything in the court papers in response thereto at all. So I don't know, and I don't think it would be proper for me to sit and speculate and hypothesize about could have and would have and should have. I don't think it's in the interest of justice or this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, don't worry about the interests of justice. And if you want us to define what the interest of justice is, then we'll be here all day. Yeah. Anyway, in fact, yeah, coming to that, yeah, you must. Okay, no, that won't come out. Okay. Would you agree that you are not coming here as a legal expert? So the terms that you use, we must take them from where they come, as they say. And I'm saying that in relation to the things you've said, you've set out things in your affidavit, which you're saying are common cause. Do you know what common cause means?
Chairperson, I was assisted by a senior counsel and a very experienced attorney. And my affidavit says where I make legal submissions, I do so on advice of them, which I accept. So I understand the broad meaning of the term common cause. It means that there is no dispute. It is accepted by both Ms. Mkhwebane and myself.
All right. Now, you understand that you were doing an affidavit to support Mr. Pillay, correct?
I was asked to look at the papers and respond to parts thereof that I was legally capable of doing so.
Yes, in fact, I think yours was a philanthropic exercise, as you explain it in the affidavit. You just wanted to assist the masses of our people.
Well, firstly, I wanted to help the 26 employees and their families, Chairperson. Sorry,
Yes.
I've lost audio.
Good. Right. Yes, that's part of the philanthropy. Okay. So
It's not philanthropy, Chairperson.
it's kindness.
It's the right thing to do when it's called Ubuntu.
That's philanthropy. Ubuntu incorporates philanthropy and caring for others. Yeah. So maybe let's stick to the vernacular. Yeah. So you were doing that affidavit. You're doing that affidavit for Ubuntu, correct?
Yes, Chairperson. Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. And let's start here. Insofar as Mr. Pillay is concerned, you do understand that you were not the primary target of the investigation. The primary target of the investigation was Mr. Godan.
I don't know, Chairperson. All I know is that the Act talks about implicated parties. I was an implicated party.
Oh, man. Listen to me carefully. Do you know, you said you've read the report. Do you know or do you not know that the primary target of the investigation was Mr. Godan?
No, I don't know that, Chairperson.
Even after you read the report?
We can go to the report. You can see what the complaints were. Some of those complaints related directly to me.
Was there any remedial action about something that you should do?
Yes.
What? What were you supposed to do?
Ms. Mkhwebane, the one remedial action was that the recommendations of that Inspector General of Intelligence report must be implemented.
No, Mr. van Loggerenberg. Implemented by you?
No, it must be implemented by a number of law enforcement agencies. And one of them was that I should be criminally prosecuted.
Okay, I think we don't understand each other. I'm saying, let me put it to you as a positive statement so that you can agree. There was no remedial action for you to take. In other words, to do something yourself, to prosecute someone or to issue an apology or whatever.
No, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I misunderstood, Mr. Mpofu.
No problem. And that is why the case 48521/19 is Pravin Chamnada's Gordon and the public protector and so on, because the primary target of that report was him, correct?
I don't know, Chairperson. As you say, I'm a layperson.
No, you can't be a layperson when it suits you. You've been telling us about common cause and all sorts of things.
Yes, I say that on advice of my expert attorneys and advocates.
Okay, I put it to you.
Just a pause there, Advocate Bauer.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to, I don't know if Mr. Mpofu has the report in front of him, but I just like you to direct you to page 4236 and 4237 of the report. And it specifically states what the complaint is. Number 1 mentions the appointment of Mr. van Loggerenberg, and number 2 says Mr. van Loggerenberg unlawfully received cash deposits paid directly into his personal F&P bank account from taxpayers and or representatives under the investigation by SARS. So whilst I understand Mr. Mpofu to saying he wasn't expected to implement any remedial action, the first proposition was that it didn't relate to Mr. Loggerenberg is not borne out by the complaint.
No, maybe Malene friend was not listening to me carefully. That's why I confine this to a remedial action. I've used the word remedial action so many times.
With respect, I listened quite carefully. Your second question related to remedial action. Your first question related to whether you were investigating, and you said it was an investigation into Mr. Gordon.
Okay, let me, it's fine. Let's erase that, all of it. I'll do it again. Do you accept that the primary target of the investigation was Mr. Gordon, like I said a few minutes ago?
No, Chairperson.
And the second question was there any remedial action directed at you? And I think you've answered that. I don't think you need to.
No, Chairperson.
Yes, good. All right. Now let's go back to the issue of the primary target. Now, I put it to you. In fact, I was going to put it to you now when I was interrupted, that anybody reading that report would understand that the primary target, and I use the word primary advisedly, of the investigation was aimed at the role of Mr. Gordon. There might have been secondary people mentioned, but the primary target was Mr. Gordon. You dispute that?
Chairperson, I don't know what is asked of me. What is a target?
But how can you answer something you don't know? I asked you the question, you said no. What were you saying no to? I asked you, is the primary target Mr. Gordon? You didn't say you don't know. You said no. So you understood the question 2 questions ago. Now you don't understand it.
No, I don't understand it in the context in which you're asking me, Chairperson.
I'm not asking.
There wasn't just one target of the investigation. There were multiple if you want to use the term target, um, targets in the investigation. One of them being, and I suppose the most prominent one was Mr. Gordon, certainly. But there were others too.
Yes.
I was one. That is why I'm here today, Chairperson.
Mr. van Loggerenberg, please just assist us. Do you know that when I say to you the primary target was Mr. Kodan, that almost implies that there must have been other targets. If he was the only target, why would I use the word primary? In your just as common sense. I'm saying to you, you prefer the word prominent, fine, let's use your word. You accept that the prominent target of the investigation was Mr. Kodan?
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you. And you are one of the secondary targets in that sense, correct?
Yes, Chairperson. The less prominent.
The less prominent. Okay. Sorry, I will not use second. I come from Bantu education, so we used to primary and
I do too, Chair.
Secondary school. Yeah. Okay. So okay, fine. The less prominent target is then here, as you are saying. That's why you are here, correct?
Yes, Chairperson, because my rights were affected.
Right. Okay, so maybe the primary target will also be here, but that's fine. That's a story for another day. The next issue that I want to talk about is this issue that the one that I think you wanted to go to. No, let's just tie up one of the things we dealt with in the morning. Did I hear you correctly that you said you did not get a hearing before Advocate Sikakan?
Did not get a hearing in respect of many issues contained in his report.
But he called you, correct?
Yes, on 2 occasions, Chairperson.
Oh, good. So you appeared before that panel twice?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. And I think from your book, you say that on the first occasion, he was courteous, and in the second occasion, you were not that happy.
I'm glad my book is read by eminent people, Chairperson.
Thank you. Flattery is not going to get you very far, Mr. van Loggerenberg.
But is that a yes answer?
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Correct.
Right. So at least to that extent, you had some Audi or hearing. Sorry, oh, sorry for the Latin. But you had
I had no Audi.
No Audi. So both on those occasions, they didn't raise issues to do with allegations against you at all.
They did, to an extent, as I said, to an extent.
But
a limited extent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying to that, that's why my question started with, to that extent, you had some Audi. Both of those words imply that it was not complete.
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you.
To a very limited extent.
Okay, I won't go there. We won't go to whether it was a primary extent or the secondary extent.
Perhaps, Chairperson, if I may, just for Mr. Mpofu's benefit, while we're on the topic, just for Mr. Chairperson, just for Mr. Mpofu's benefit, during the break I checked, the initial communication where SARS publicly removed the Sikakane report from their website was privately between myself and the South African Revenue Service in 2018. It was only in 2020, in other words, after the Public Protector report, that the Revenue Service publicly communicated that they no longer relied on the Sikakane report.
Okay, sorry, I missed some of that, Mr. van Loggerenberg, but it's fine. I think
I'll be quick.
No. Okay.
In other words, it's after the
summarize.
report, not before.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you can just summarize the part I missed. I'm sorry, Mr. van Loggerenberg. I just was looking at something else, but I'm saying I'm happy. You don't have to. I'll read the record for myself. The point I just wanted to register now was the fact that you had some kind of what you call limited hearing before Advocate Sikakane. I'm happy with that answer. You also said yesterday that the crux of your, and I'm paraphrasing, the crux of your complaint and why you're here is that you failed to act without fear, favor, or prejudice. So let's just unpack that a little bit. What
It's
fear?
not what I said, Chairperson.
Okay, you didn't say she failed to act without fear, favor, or prejudice.
No, I specified prejudice.
No, Mr. van Loggerenberg, you said this, it was on television, the whole country had it. Let's not quibble about that. Okay.
Just reflect to my affidavit, Chairperson.
No, I'm not talking about affidavit, Mr. van Loggerenberg. Please listen carefully. Are you fine? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm just in a bit of pain, but I'm fine. I can handle it.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. We only have another 10, 15 minutes before your break.
We can cut to the chase, Chairperson. If I said fear, favor, or prejudice, my emphasis is on the term with prejudice.
So what must we do now? We must discard what you said yesterday.
You can adapt it accordingly, Chairperson.
No, I'm going to stick with it.
Just a pause, Advocate Mpofu, Advocate Bauer.
I stand corrected, but I understood it to be a general proposition yesterday that under the Constitution, the public protector is obliged to act without fear, favor, or prejudice. I'll get somebody on my team to check, but my recollection seems to be that that was what was said.
Well, firstly, that's not what was said, but even if it was said, it would be said in relation to Advocate Mkhwebane, because that's what we're here for. But what was said, and you'll find it on the news, Morning Live, is you said in her investigation, she failed to act without fear, favor, or prejudice. I don't want to quibble about such a thing. You said it, and the record will speak for itself. What fear were you talking about?
Just give me 1 second, please, Chairperson.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair. In fact, just to help you, you then say she failed in all of those. That's how you ended that sentence.
Yes, I recall that.
She being, sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, Mr. van Loggerenberg. I'm saying I'm kind of answering you and my learned friend at the same time. So when you said she, you meant Advocate Mkhwebane, correct?
I want to answer you, Chairperson, if you can just allow me. Okay, the terms I used when I said that, Chairperson, was Ms. Mkhwebane failed the tests of courage, vigilance, and conviction of purpose.
Sorry, just say that again. Courage.
Courage, vigilance, and conviction of purpose.
On top of the fear and favor and prejudice, or instead of?
No, I said I made out a proper case that in my experience, Ms. Mkhwebane failed to act without prejudice.
Okay.
My reference to fear, favor, or prejudice was a direct quote from Mail and Guardian.
No, the Mail and Guardian didn't say she. It's a court case. I'm saying you said she failed to act without fear, favor, and prejudice. And then you say she failed in all of those. She was Advocate Mkhwebane, correct?
Chairperson, I need your guidance. I don't recall saying that. I recall saying prejudice only where I made reference to all three of those items I quoted from case law, and where I said that Ms. Mkhwebane failed. I referred specifically to courage, vigilance, and conviction of purpose.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure you'll catch it on Twitter. All right, that's fine. Let's go to the right. The vigilance. How did she fail on vigilance?
Just repeat that so that they can hear you properly.
Okay. Ms. Stefan Loggerenberg, how did she fail on vigilance?
She failed to acquire all the facts, Chairperson.
Oh, I see. So it goes back to that issue of not being able to find you. Correct?
No, it goes back to paragraph 223 of the court judgment.
Okay. You like going to the court judgment, but I've been saying we're going to go there, but seeing that you are so eager, I'll take you there. All right. Before we go there, you said that you left SARS because of state capture.
Yes, Chairperson, I deposed quite a lengthy affidavit to the SARS Commission of Inquiry, in which I set the facts out in detail.
No, forget that. I'm talking about what you said here in,
yes.
In paragraph.
Yes, Chairperson, correct.
Sorry. Paragraph 8 of your affidavit.
Yes, Chairperson, I've confirmed.
Yeah, let me finish. Of this commission, you said, I resigned from SARS in February 2015 as a direct result of state capture.
Correct, Chairperson.
What is that? What's state capture?
It's when a group of people, I'm giving you the layperson's definition, my definition. When a group of people use nefarious or improper or unconstitutional or illegal or unlawful or a combination of those activities with a view to control, influence, and take over the functions of a particular component within the state.
and rather you resigned from SARS because of those many big things.
Yes.
Okay. Who was that group? Who were those group of people who made you to resign because of state capture?
There were very many. I would, just for sake of getting to the point quickly, I would just group them into certain private businesses, such as Bain and Company, certain individuals and business entities that were under investigation by the South African Revenue Service, certain state officials deployed in the prosecuting authority, the Hawks, the Police Crime Intelligence, and the State Security Agency in the main.
They don't have names.
They have names.
Who are they? The primary ones.
I've listed them. Well, I can go to my affidavit quickly and list them for you if you want.
You can't remember them without going to your affidavit.
It's a very long list, Chair.
I said just the highlights, the kingpins or queen pins, whatever.
You mean the most prominent individuals?
Absolutely.
Mr. Jacob Zuma.
Just pause, Mr. van Loggerenberg, Advocate Bauer.
I maybe inquire from my learned friend, what's the relevance of all of this to this inquiry?
Advocate Mpofu.
Yes, no, I should be asking from her. That's the statement from the witness that which was put before this committee. If it was irrelevant, then why is it put here? What is it doing here?
Witness has explained to you what his understanding was of state capture. He's explained to you the category of people he thought. The question I'm asking is, what is the relevance of naming people to this inquiry?
It's the same relevance. If he left SARS because of state capture, or whether he left because of the rogue unit, it's a relevant distinction. And he has volunteered that he left because of state capture. And you're correct that I asked him to define what it is because I didn't know what it means. And he has now kindly done so. So I want to know then, I'm probing further as to what role it played in his departure, because my version is that he left because of his criminal activities.
Yes, Honorable Melder.
Alleged criminal activities. First,
alleged criminal activities.
Yes, that's not quite important.
Yes, and
absolutely, we
don't
find people guilty around here.
The prominent ones, yeah.
The alleged ones, yes. And second, I would like to ask Advocate Mpofu, why is it relevant why he resigned from SARS at all?
I don't know. Will he put it here? Why are you asking me?
Sorry, Chairman, through you. You are asking him why he resigned. Why is it relevant?
Because he put it in his statement, Mr. Mulder. Which part of that is not clear? If it's here, this is an inquiry. Says this affidavit is therefore submitted specifically, he says, at paragraph 6, pursuant to the public invitation by Parliament of the Republic of South Africa to any person willing to provide evidence in respect of the conduct of Ms. Mkhwebane. In that affidavit, he tells us at paragraph 8 that he resigned from SARS in February as a direct result of state capture. And you're asking me to explain why that is relevant.
May I address you, Chairperson?
Okay, go ahead, Honorable Melder.
The Honourable Witness indicated that for his perception resigned because of his perception of what state capture was. And he explained what it was according to him. It's surely not up to him now to rephrase the whole Zonde process and say exactly in detail what state capture implies. That is not on our agenda at all. He gave his interpretation that he, in terms of his perception, resigned because of his perception about state capture, and he gave his definition about that. Going now into details of names, etc., is really not on our table.
Well, I'm going to ask the question because it's relevant to what the witness deemed to be relevant. If it was relevant for him to give the definition you're talking about, then why is it not relevant to go deeper as to why that he has defined made him to depart?
I would want that.
I'm sorry,
no,
it's a dialogue. I'm asking rhetorically.
between
Sorry.
the two of you. Go ahead, Honorable Melder.
I didn't, with all due respect for you, Chairperson, I did not hear the witness say that it's all that relevant. He was asked by Advocate Mpofu about the relevance of state capture, and then he gave his definition as a lay person. I think that settles it.
It settles for who? I'm the one asking questions here.
Okay.
I'll tell you when my question is settled. All right?
Okay, proceed, Advocate Mpofu.
Okay, thank you.
Just on a point of order. Sorry, Chair. Just on a point of order. Advocate Mpofu, you asked to be treated with respect. You asked that
Yes,
repeatedly. I would ask that you treat the members of this committee with like respect.
Okay, but don't shout at me,
I'm
please.
sorry, I'm not shouting. I'm asking you politely to treat the members of this committee with respect. Honorable Mulder asked you a question and you responded aggressively. Now, kindly, please stop interrupting members when they are talking and kindly address members of this committee with appropriate respect.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairperson,
Thank you, Chair.
control this meeting.
I'm
Yes.
trying to do that.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable
If you, well, Chair,
Advocate Mpofu,
Yeah.
can you please proceed with the witness
with my
now?
question, yes, no, I will, Chair. I don't, if the honorable member thinks that, sorry.
Chairperson.
I'm sorry,
Mr. van Loggerenberg.
Yeah, no, I'm saying,
Perhaps if it may advance the process.
Yeah.
Nothing turns on, in my view, and nothing was intended to turn on my recordal of having resigned from the Revenue Service directly as a result of state capture. You will see in the numbering, I think it's 0.8. It starts off with 0.7. Now, 0.7.1 tells you when I commenced my service at the South African Revenue Service, and until when, starting at a relatively junior level and climbing these ranks, which is a common cause item between Ms. Mkhwebane and I, whereas 0.8 is not a common cause point. But I felt the personal need to close the loop from a factual perspective only. Nothing in respect of my grievance before this committee turns on 0.8. I don't, unless the committee believes otherwise, I don't think too much needs to be made of it for purposes of this committee's process. Thank you, Chairperson.
thank you, Chair. Well, you're the one who puts it there. But before I ask you my next question, just want to respond to the honorable member from the DA to say that I don't know what he's referring to about disrespect, because I think the only person who has been insulted here this morning is me about speaking at rallies and dragging this until the end of a contract and all sorts of things like that. And as I said this morning, if I've offended you, then I apologize. But I believe, and I'm sure Mr. van Loggerenberg will agree with me when he talks about Ubuntu, that respect is a two-way process and it must be earned. And I'm here to respect anybody, especially those who also respect me and my client. But I'm not here to cower to anything. I'm here to just do my job and to do it with as much self-restraint as possible.
Thank you.
Understood the amount of self-restraint I have to exercise.
I think you've made the point. I want you now to just go to the last question.
No, looks like we are agreed.
Please go to your last question.
Thanks.